Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of The Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva. I hope your week is going good, going fine, going smooth. We're almost there to the end of the week. And, it's been kind of hot lately. I'll be honest, I haven't really talked a whole lot about the weather in recent episodes, but there was a point where, it was supposed to be maybe about a month ago, 113, 115, I think. It never really got that hot when it was supposed to, and it cooled down for a bit. Now it's ramping back up again, just a little bit though. It's not too bad. It's not like unbearably hot, but it is definitely noticeable. And it's not just, warm weather, like warm for California, like a dry heat. It's been a little muggy. It's been a little muggy lately. It has not been a very enjoyable heat. Definitely has been a little bit more irritating to people and to me, of course. I don't understand how people can live in those very, very humid states across the country. Like the Floridas, Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana, all those places, Texas, where they claim that it's hot and it's humid all the time. Like, do they just never go outside? Do they just stay inside all day? Can you even go outside and enjoy life outdoors during the summer in those months? Is it even possible? Like, people say, and people who have been there, and I've known people that have traveled to southern states like Texas and what have you, and they all say that it is a swampy, moist, humid climate over there. Very, very sticky and sweaty. That they claim, this is their exact words, you feel like you need to take a shower after you walk outside. That's like along the lines that they say that the weather there in the summer is that bad. Now, if you think about that, you really put your mind to it, and you think, and you think, and you think, what type of people would actually want to live at a place where it feels like you need to take a shower after you walk outside? Like a few minutes after you walk outside, oh man, I feel like I gotta take a shower. Like, let's really, really think about that. As a person who is, productive, right? Has a job. Let's say that. Has a job, productive, does stuff outdoors possibly, maybe makes a short commute, gotta walk somewhere, maybe takes public transportation, maybe something not too serious, but something that's not that extravagant, right? And you walk outside to commute to your job, right? And you claim that when you walk outside in the summer, that you feel like you need to take a shower after you walk outside. Well, Jesus Christ, why would you want to live in a place like that? Like, let's be real. Let's be honest. Now, I'm sure, living situations and living, home lifestyles and home situations, they probably, that's where you live, right? You got to make do, right? You have to make do with what you're given and what you have available. But it just seems to me that if it's really that bad, why would you not move somewhere else where that really isn't much of a problem? Like, is not much of a problem. Now, I am kind of lucky because I do live in California. I live in the sunny state of California, where we don't get a whole lot of rain, a whole too much rain. We live on the Pacific coast, the Pacific Ocean, where the water in the ocean is nice and cool. Pretty cold, actually. You go in the summer months, and it's pretty cold still. I've never been there in the winter months, really, and gone in the beach or in the ocean, but I would assume that it'd be freaking freezing over there in that water. And I hear the exact opposite on the East Coast, that the ocean on that side is hot. It's warm. It's like you're taking a bath. Like, if you think about that, what is the purpose of the beach? Like going into the ocean, you go into an ocean to cool off, right? You go into a beach and then go into the ocean to get cool, right? Pretty much every person that goes into a body of water, whether it be a lake, river, ocean, pool, is going there for one purpose and one purpose only. And that purpose is to cool off, to escape the heat. Except for on the exception of hot tubs and jacuzzis where you go there to warm up. But you're not going to be jumping into a jacuzzi in the summer, in the middle of summer, or even September when it's still kind of warm in some areas of the country. You're not going to really be jumping into that jacuzzi to warm up in the summer months, right? You're going to be wanting to seek bodies of water to cool down. That's what most people think when they think of a body of water. I'm going to go cool off in. I'm going to go cool off and escape the heat for a little bit, a brief escape of this heat. That's what I think, right? Yeah, you got an ocean on the East Coast, all across the East Coast. You got from Maine, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, New York, Pennsylvania, the Carolinas, Georgia, Alabama, Georgia, Florida. And you even go into the Gulf. You got Mississippi, and you got Louisiana, Texas, Arkansas, my bad. And all these states that are right by this Gulf of Mexico. That's really, I think I've been told and I've learned and I've researched that's like the main source of all this hot water is the Gulf of Mexico. That water is like hot as shit. It just kind of cyclones, in there. And eventually when it escapes the Gulf, it kind of sweeps and it does like a swooping motion up into the North Atlantic and kind of makes that hot. That's why people, and people have told me this too, that New York is also very humid in the summertime. And you're thinking like, New York? The place where it snows, where it gets cold, and it's not like super hot? That place is humid? You're telling me that? Now, I've never been to New York in my entire life. So I'm not sure if that's true or not. I'm a person that believes that I need to see it to believe it. I can't just believe it. I just can't hear what people tell me and take that for a fact. I need to see things in order to believe them. That might be a weakness upon myself, but I'll be honest, I think that I need to go to the East Coast for one and check out their weather. I'll just go through the entire East Coast, Northeast to the Southeast, and even into the Gulf states, and truly see what it's like to live on that coast. If it's really that bad, because people tell me that the weather stinks wherever you go over there. I even hear that it's even humid in Tennessee, and that's like a landlocked state. They ain't by any ocean. They ain't by any, water source. They're not by the Gulf of Mexico. Like, why are you humid? Interesting. Like, you can't tell me that. I even looked up the weather in Chicago. The weather in Chicago, apparently, it also gets hot and humid there as well. I'm like, shit, you ain't even by no ocean. I mean, I guess you're by a lake, but that lake is in the north. That should be some cool-ass water. That cannot be hot water. You gotta be shitting me with that shit. I need to retake a climate class. A class that can really teach me lessons of how climate and weather works. And to see how that all shakes up. Like, let's just do some fun research right now, right? Let's do some research live on the podcast. I'm going to see what the weather is like right now in Chicago, Illinois. Right now, it's 79 degrees and sunny. The high is 81. The low is 59. I'm not sure if that's either too high or too low for Chicago summer standards at this point in the year, middle of August. Let's see. Let me check the humidity on that. 51%. It was 51% yesterday, around 10 o'clock, and I felt it. It was pretty bad. Wasn't very good. That was not great. And they're more northern. They're like by Lake, I don't know, Superior or Michigan, whatever lake that is. That should not be a hot location at this point in the year. Shouldn't be. That doesn't make any sense. Now let's try New York. New York right now is 77 degrees, partly cloudy. Their humidity is at a 78%. So that must mean like it's miserable there, right? Like if I was like at a 54 yesterday, and I felt like, ugh, this feels bad. I can't even imagine a 78%. Now, apparently, one of the hottest places in the world, in the country, it's got to be South Beach, right? Miami, where it's super humid over there. Like right now, they're at a thunderstorm. They're having a thunderstorm right now. 86 degrees during a thunderstorm. You got to be kidding me. Well, it's not a thunderstorm right now, but it's just showing a bunch of dark clouds over, Miami. So I would tend to believe that it's going to thunderstorm. A place that regularly gets hurricanes, you would think that it would be a thunderstorm at least. That's not showing me any lightning in the cloud icons, but, it could change. The weather always fucking changes. It doesn't even make any sense. But right now, 101, partly cloudy. Humidity is at a 25%, but it feels like a 50. I'll be honest. But yeah, it's hot. Summer is not giving up just yet. We're in the middle of August. It ain't quite done with its grasp, with its hold on humanity, with its hold on our lives. Speaking of a hold on our lives, you remember about maybe a couple months ago, there was an incident reported in the news. Well, not really the news. If you count X as the news, then yes, it was part of the news. But I was scrolling through X, and there was this quote that was trending, and it was, "That man is not real." Now, if you're following me, it's a viral video that was posted on all social media platforms about this woman on a flight, and of course she's being videotaped by other people on the plane. She's having a meltdown, a freak out, and one could say maybe hallucinating, who knows. But in the clip of in this video, she is repeatedly saying that she's going to be getting off this plane right now. She's getting off right now. I'm getting off this plane right now. And then she utters a quote that, kind of, shocked me, I'll be honest. And it was also because, like, the way that she was saying it, the way that she delivered what she was saying on the plane sounded very scared. She sounded very scared. She sounded very like she didn't know what was going to happen, possibly on the verge of tears. But she was saying that motherfucker is not real back there, and this plane's not gonna make it to wherever their destination is. Now, when I first saw this, I can't lie to you, it was pretty disturbing. Now, normally I don't get like freaked out by some of this stuff because it just doesn't seem quite real. Some of it, I don't see like the craziest stuff on the internet, but some of this stuff just doesn't seem real enough. The person doesn't seem also to be as much of a controlled setting as a airplane is. It's kind of a thin tube. People can't really venture that far in an airplane. I mean, you can go like to the back and the front of the plane, yes, but like there isn't much width where people could, go in different directions. Like it's really just like kind of like right there. Everyone can see. And I'll be honest, the way she was delivering those lines when she was speaking was kind of freaky. Like you could tell that she definitely was freaked out. Like either really freaked out or super high. I was inclined to thinking that she was freaked out by something. That something actually freaked her out, like whatever it was. And I was like, this is weird. Like, this is like weird and disturbing. Like, disturbing because she sounds all pretty terrified. And I'll be honest, when I saw it, I'm like, what's going on here? I actually felt kind of nervous, like watching that clip. I was like, oh no, what is happening? This is a weird thing that's happening. Like, I'm intrigued. Then I saw footage of like a body cam when she was being escorted out of the plane and just kind of waiting at the side of the plane. Not like I mean in the airport, actually, like in the airport, kind of like looking at the plane that she just got off of. And she was like saying the same thing, like that flight's not going to make it. And then they were just saying like, man, we're going to be under arrest and stuff like that. And she still sounded freaked out. She was still like saying like, that guy's not real. They're not going to make it. And she, was actually what it seemed to be. I couldn't really tell, but as she was walking back inside the airport, it looked to be like she was actually filming herself, like in a selfie mode, like pointing the camera at you and recording it. She looked like she was addressing her phone at that point. Now, this all happens about 2 months ago, maybe a month and a half ago, and nothing appears. There's no statement, no track down of her, nothing. Like no one seems to know where she is. She hid pretty damn well. We couldn't tell about anything. Like no one on the plane had any other information. No friend of hers came forward. Nobody else really on the plane, too. I mean, if you're being honest, like no one else on that plane was interviewed or anything about it, or the guy in the green hoodie, apparently, that she was saying is not real. No one came out, nothing, for 2 months. And then this week, she posts a video. Her name is Tiffany Gomez, and essentially, she made a video, like a 3-minute video or 5-minute video, of just her saying that she was sorry for the way that she acted, and that she was putting up a bad example of bad behavior, and saying like, if you have kids, you should never, act like this in front of kids because it's not a good example. It's not something that you should do. And I'm like, yo, like, what are you gonna address the guy who was not real? What's going on here? Like that, listen, to be honest, we were more concerned about what you were freaking out at than your actual freak out. Like, sure, people freak out on planes all the time, right? They freak out because either they're afraid of heights or they're claustrophobic, but you were deliberately saying that man is not real, and you seemed super freaked out about it. Now, I'm sorry, sweetheart. Your apology is not good enough. I need to know what the hell you were freaking out about, because you said that this man is not real. What was it then? What did you see? That's all you can say is he wasn't real? That he just was not real. And there was nothing else besides that. No description. No, like, he's a freaking orc. He has an elf ear. He has lizard eyes. He has an alien head. He's a shapeshifter. He's a wizard. He's a ghost. He's a demon. Poltergeist. Nothing. Just saying that he's not real. Which, if I'm being honest now that I'm talking out loud and really thinking about this whole situation, about this whole thing, maybe she was on something. Maybe the fact that she could not describe how this man was not real, because she kept saying that this man's not real. He is not real. She kept saying that. She couldn't describe it. She never really, even in the apology video, which, by the way, you know, she's made a social media account, she's made a website, she's made a YouTube channel, she's made all these three things within the day that she posted this video of this apology. And she made all these things to probably for what? To get a fan base interaction. Maybe she'll be like a Twitch streamer or something like that. Beautiful lady, beautiful woman. But like, I don't know. The more I think about it, though, when she did say that man is not real and couldn't really describe what she was seeing, just saying he's not real, kind of inclines me to more thinking that possibly drugs. Possibly drugs. But even then, I think that maybe drugs or some type of medication, or maybe just drunk, I don't know, could at least, provide you with enough mental strength in the brain for you to at least kind of describe what you saw, But then again, did we have a police report? Do we have like a questioning with this lady? I'm not too sure. I haven't heard anything about that, like a questioning of like, what did you see? What was he about? What did he do? Why did you freak out? What did you see? But then again, what if, just what if, hear me out. This is kind of a conspiracy, but it's a fun one. What if Tiffany Gomez actually saw an alien and there was proof of it, and they shut down that entire plane, and they got everybody who was on that plane to sign an NDA saying, if you talk about this in the way that we don't want you to talk about, that's it. You'll be arrested and your life will be over. Maybe that's what happened. Maybe that could be a possibility. I mean, if you think about it, the apology thing that she put out didn't mention anything about the guy who wasn't real. Nothing was mentioned, just saying apologizing for her freak out. But then again, why after 2 months? Why after so much time did she have the need to be like, I'm going to apologize. I'm going to make an apology video that I messed up and it was an embarrassing thing that I did and that I need to be better and no one should do this. This is not something that you should do on an airplane, and hand up, that's my fault. I take responsibility. That type of shit, right? Unless it was like some kind of probe or some kind of mechanism to stir some, make people curious about something. I don't know. Doesn't seem legit, but also kind of seems legit. Everything's so effed up in this world right now. Like, what's real? What isn't real? It's really hard to freaking just nail down something. There's even like rumors and conspiracies that isn't even the real woman that was yelling on the plane. Now, it's hard to say. It really is hard to tell because on the video, you don't really get a full centered shot of her face. You get more like a profile. And of course, in the video that she put out, she has some stunning makeup and looks great. But like in the video, she clearly doesn't have makeup. And maybe she just dolled herself up to make her look nicer for this video. But like, I don't want to seem too conspiratorial. But like, people are saying that ain't really her. That it could be a stand-in. It could be a dummy. It could be what do they call in movies? The extra or the stunt double type of thing. A double. It could be something like that, just to put out there to hold down the publicity, to make sure that people aren't talking too much about the freak out on the plane, about what happened on that plane. I don't know. And it also kind of baffles me that nobody on that plane has really come out and said what she was going crazy about. It seems like it's being suppressed, or it's not being, the full truth is not being let out, which is kind of strange, and something that you think, with all those people on the plane, that someone could possibly come forward and say, you know what, it looked like this, but this is what actually happened. No one really has come forward. which is very, very, very strange. And you know what? To be honest, if somebody said that they were coming forward, how could we possibly believe them? Unless you get a bunch of witnesses saying that, hey, I was on this plane, so was she, so was he. We all saw Tiffany Gomez doing this thing. How can we be so sure? Man, doesn't today suck? Now, we cannot get solid evidence on these major stories that captivate a nation. The man that wasn't real on the plane. Like, how is this so hard? How have we made this? How have we made everything so complicated? So, like, it's so hard to prove everything now. It's so hard to get things right, to get things factual. You know what did it? You know what I think really did it? This might not sound as... This might be more conspiritual than political. But I think what really did this, what really made people so untrustful and people unworthily to tell the truth, and for things to be taken with a grain of salt, if I might have you, or to be careful of what you read or watch, or even to just be, what's the word? To skeptical, to be skeptical about whatever you see. Probably Bigfoot. Remember when we saw that video of Bigfoot in the woods just walking? Or what people say is Bigfoot or is a man in a suit. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like the classic Bigfoot video that he's like walking down like a road in the forest, and like these, I don't know, these hikers or like horseback riding guys just kind of take like a video of him just walking, like on this road, making a turn and just walking away. I'm talking about that video. We have not been able to prove if that motherfucker exists. We have not been able to prove anything. I mean, I've watched a ton of shows on Animal Planet back in the day to figure out if any of this shit is true. And I'll be honest, I watched hours and hours and hours, and I haven't seen 1 second of evidence that this motherfucker is real. Bigfoot, the conspiritually thing, the footage, it ruined information. It really did ruin information, because now people claim that this is real and this is not a hoax. And other people are saying like, no, it's not real. It's not real, and it's all fake. Now, that video alone, I think, really damaged the American public's ability to see and ability to think that things are real for what they are, and not something else, because they're looking too far into it or too deep into it and getting something completely different from what it is, or than what it is. It kind of sucks, I'll be honest, because I just want to know the truth to these type of things. I don't want to be bamboozled. I don't want to be, ridiculed. I don't want to be led astray. I don't want to be told. I don't want to be lied to. But I think that things today are just a little too simple nowadays, if you think about it. Like, Tiffany Gomez this all could have been staged, like, without a doubt. The guy she probably saw, what if he wasn't real? What if he was some kind of anomaly? What if he was from a different dimension? What if he was an alien or a lizard? I don't know. I mean, like, that... It's just kind of weird how she did not address the fact that the guy was he real or was he not real? Did not address it. Not once. No one else, and her apology video just didn't address it, which was strange. Very, very strange. But, I guess we just have to move on. That we maybe we'll just never really No, the truth of what happened. Yeah, so I just rewatched the video, and now I think about it, this all might have been a stunt to get some publicity, to get some eyes on her, to do something. You know, she promotes mental health at the end of the video, and like, you know, get help, and it's important, but it's like, well, but why did you take so long to do it? Did someone say, hey, girl, you can make some money off of this? You look fine. You're beautiful. Why don't you do this and, you know, kind of get some eyeballs on you? You know, get her. She made a Twitter account because of this, or at least a public one, and already has 109.7 thousand followers on X. Like, this is, I don't know. Nothing at this point is real to me. It all feels fake. And like I said, it might have just been because of Bigfoot, but also, like, if you really look at this and the timeline of how all this stuff really shook out, like, I just don't know if I buy it completely. I guess we'll have to wait and see, but as of right now, Tiffany Gomez, you're on thin ice. Like, don't get me wrong, do you, girl. I support you, and you're great, and I really like you, but for the rest of the world, you might be on thin ice, including myself, about your story, about what happened. But I would love to talk to you in person, for that matter, and really, you know, let your story be told on a much bigger platform than X, on this podcast. But for real, come on, we can hash it out, we can chat, maybe have dinner, and yeah, just really tell your story. And besides this 2-minute Twitter or X video, come on. Moving on though, one thing that I was really looking forward to seeing in the near future was, I guess that's now being called off, was Mark Zuckerberg versus Elon Musk in a fight. I don't know why they would actually do that, but, you know, it got some eyeballs, it got some attention. I was certainly one of them. Don't get me wrong here. I'm not the biggest fan, and I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of watching these celebrity fights, these celebrity duels, battles, whatever you want to call them. I'm not a giant fan of those. If I'm being completely honest, I feel like, you know, most of the stuff that's on, you know, with the YouTubers boxing or whatever, don't really care at all about that. Don't really care. However, you get some pretty powerful nerds like Zuck and Elon, and I would watch that. I'll be honest. I've seen, you know, the memes. I've seen them tweeting at each other. I've seen Elon just basically promoting it on X. I've seen people just doing this, that, and the other. And I gotta say, I was down for it. I was down to buy the pay-per-view and donate some money to the charities and be like, you know what, boys? Like, I am in. I want to watch this fight. I will pay, and I've never paid for a fight in my entire life, right? Like a combat sport, boxing, MMA, wrestling, never paid for it once in my entire life. And I definitely would, because I'm not a thief. I wouldn't pirate it either. But I would have paid to see Zuck take on Musk. Because I think that as much as I'm a fan of Elon Musk, and as much as I'm a fan of Mark Zuckerberg, I totally think that Zuck would kick Musk's ass. Like, I'm pretty sure that what they were going to do is do like a jiu-jitsu or some type of MMA fight. And I've seen Zuck, and I've heard Zuck talk about that he is just a fan of jiu-jitsu and loves jiu-jitsu and loves, you know, competing in that form of combat sport, and that he's actually pretty good. Now, I've also heard that he's rigged some matches and has redone matches in order for him to win. I'm not sure if that's true or not. I have no idea. But I do know for the fact that he enjoys jiu-jitsu and enjoys rolling. And I thought that, because of him having the experience in jiu-jitsu, that he would be able to crush Elon Musk. And I would have been like, dude, that would have been so fun to watch, so cool to see. Why did we not get this done? How did this just fall apart? For real. To be honest, was it really gonna actually happen? I don't really know. Were they just memeing? Were they just joking around? Were they just saying, you know what? How much of a stir can me and you start on social media? Let me just, what if he was like, hey, Zuck, yo, I'm going to approach you. I'm going to actually threaten you on X. I can beat your ass in jiu-jitsu. And you come at me like this, and I'll come back at you at that. And then we'll see if we can get the meter to gauge. We'll see how many eyeballs we can get on this shit. And if it works, we might do it. But if not, we'll just pull the plug and act like we fell off. And that just, fell through. Even though we were never really going to do it in the first place, But then that kind of goes back to what I was talking about before with Tiffany Gomez. What if this whole bullshit, with Zuck and Musk was fake? What if they never even were actually going to fight and just said it to get views on X and Meta? Could you imagine that? Could you imagine that they would lie about that? I certainly could. And I could see that, people falling for Musk and Zuck, the match of the century. I could see people falling for that for sure. Now, I wouldn't want that. I would want to see that. Like I said, I would absolutely 100% pay to watch that pay-per-view, have the boys over, watch it, and just be hope that it would be worth it. Just a hope that it would be worth it. But now that apparently it's off, I gotta say, I'm a little disappointed because I was looking forward to that. Whenever it might have happened, I was gonna be like, you know what? I don't know when it's gonna happen, but when it does, I'm gonna pay for it. And I'm gonna watch that shit, and I'm gonna eat that shit up. It was almost on the hype for me. Actually, I fibbed at the beginning of this segment. I fibbed. I completely forgot that Hasbulla and Abdu Rozik were supposed to fight. That shit went nowhere. I fell for that shit. Hand up, I fell for that. I, for one, fell for that. There's no hope, essentially. I follow Hasbulla. I don't follow Abdu Rozik, but I follow Hasbulla on Instagram, on X, on Threads. I follow him on everything that I have. And there is not one single mention of, don't worry, I'm going to beat up Abdu Rozik, or Abdu Rozik saying I'm going to beat up Hasbulla. None of that shit's going to happen. It actually makes me very, very sad about that too. Because I was fully invested in that conflict, in that internet conflict between the two smallest, biggest dudes on the planet. For real. At the time, during the pandemic, right, when we were all cooped up in our freaking homes and sheltering in place and hiding from COVID, people were fucking losing their minds in Eastern Europe and in the Middle East, and talking up these guys, Hasbulla and Abdu Rozik, it was they were superstars, that they actually did things that were good for humanity. But what did they actually do? They made TikToks and look funny. That was it. That's all they did. And they were talking up like they were going to fight. They even had meetups where they almost fought. They were on the verge, but they got pulled away by their agents and by their security. And, I was thinking to myself, if these guys actually fought, this would be fucking incredible. I would be 100% Team Hasbulla. Some of my friends were Team Hasbulla. But I was like, dude, this little guy, he was selling out cardboard cutouts of himself. I knew some lady that she said that her grandson had a cardboard cutout of Hasbulla, and she told me that that's his boy. Like he was actually invested and entertained by this guy to buy a cardboard cutout of Hasbulla. Isn't that incredible that a guy who just makes TikToks and talks up a fake fight is making cardboard cutouts, has cryptocurrency and all this bullshit, and what has he actually done? Not much. Just look like himself, do things, punch people in the face for fun, and that's it. But that's kind of like how the world is right now, if you think about it. You don't really need to do anything productive, like a fight with another guy, with a Hasbulla fighting a guy, fighting Abdurozak would have been actually doing something. Actually doing something that honestly would have been a lot more work than what he's doing now. Like right now, he's not really doing anything but posting what he does, but that's just entertainment. We find that entertaining, and that is enough for these guys. Like that is enough for Hasbulla and Abdurozak. If you really, really think about it, right? Entertainment, it has changed so much within the past century. In the past century. Back then, 100 years ago, you went to a show on Broadway to see someone perform with a skill that you did not have. You did not have the talent or the skill to juggle or to sing or to be like a mime or do gymnastics or cartwheel or dance. That was entertainment back then. And then eventually it gradually went to like musical performance with instruments and like solo acts like that. And then it went to bands, and it went to performing like solo shows like stand-up comedy, and then like big bands, and then tours, and then rapping, and then, you know, other forms of entertainment like sports and competition and the Olympics, and performing in a band and motion pictures, and then TV shows that take production and value and talent and skill and all this stuff that not everybody has. But now, you don't have to have any sort of real talent. You can just do something. People will watch. You strike gold, and then you're in. You have the gimmick. You're in. People watch videos of people just eating a meal. And then that's it. Not even in a competitive sense, just eating a meal. And then that's their entertainment. I've seen it on YouTube. I've seen it. The dude just eats food. He'll eat food like a normal amount, maybe a little bit more than normal. Call it a day. That's it. That's the content. That's it. How many views? Way too many. Way too many for you to count. Way too many for you to think that, you know, what am I doing wrong here? Another person, right? Some other guy, you know, not even real talent whatsoever. Just, you know, plays a video game and people like it. And then that's it. Some people don't even do that at all. Some people just talk and converse. Like myself, podcasts. All you gotta do is talk, converse, have a take, have an idea. That's now entertainment. Entertainment has changed. What is entertainment? What is it? What is it? You can't really boil it down. You can't. It's impossible. Now, the more I think about it, you can find entertainment in such little things out there that people will begin to reject traditional entertainment. I can't tell you how many people that I've talked to that they have said that they'd rather watch YouTube than Netflix. I'm a bit of both. I like YouTube, and I like you know scripted traditional entertainment content, right? Like streaming shows and movies and all that stuff, music and all that. But there's a big market and a lot of people out there that enjoy just the really simple type of entertainment that comes from YouTube, social media. Vine back then, when Vine took off, oh my God. People were like calling themselves comedians. They were putting that in their bio, like, I'm a comedian because I make funny vines. Like, we kind of like, we're very loose with the term comedian, because when I think of comedian, I think of like Tom Segura, Dave Chappelle, all these guys that I watch, Chris Rock, Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor, all these legends, but nowadays, like back then you could say, oh, comedian, Amanda Cerny back then with Vine, Lily Pons, and all these people that were not actual comedians, but, they would call themselves that. They would put that in their bio, that I'm a comedian. Now, none of their videos, in my opinion, were that funny. I'll be honest, I probably just missed like the gap, or it wasn't aimed at my demographic, an older gentleman. They're like aimed like at 10-year-olds, which at the time when Vine came out, I was not 10. Sorry, I missed that. I missed it, whatever. But yeah, the scope and the landscape of entertainment has changed so much. That, anything can be considered entertainment now. Pretty much anything can be entertainment. You would see like videos on YouTube of people just showing like a collection of some like memorabilia or something like that. They would get like 100,000 views. It's like, what? How? But you think to yourself, if I did that, would I get that many clicks? Would I get that many views? I don't know. But then again, it's also a part of the person who's doing the entertainment, right? It's about the person who's actually providing the entertainment. Are they a likable person? Are they relatable? Are they more of a showman than others? Can they do more things to keep people watching their content? Some people you see fall off drastically. Some people you see people like one of the big markets of content right now on YouTube is still, to this day, and I can't believe that I'm saying this, is reaction-based content. Some people watch a video and they verbally react to it. Now, I've never been a fan because I don't enjoy seeing other people's reactions. I don't think that I don't need to see what they think, And I mean, a movie review, sure, I want to see your opinion, but I don't really need to see how the person reacts to like some type of video, It's never really been my thing, but those videos get so much views, so many views. Back in the day, like 9 years ago, 10 years ago, what was one of the biggest channels on YouTube? The Fine Bros. That was like their bread and butter. That's all they did, was have people of different age groups and demographics watch videos and react to them, and it got millions and millions of views. Like that at a time was probably more profitable, making a video of other people watching somebody else's content and seeing what they say about it was more of a moneymaker than making an original content at a time. I swear to God, like those videos had so much viewership, it was insane. You could not believe it. And it's just like, wow, how are we at the point where all this can be considered entertainment? I mean, definitely, sure, with YouTube and the viewership and all this stuff, I mean, the numbers are not going to lie, right? If you get this many views and this many likes and all this traffic with your video, there's your proof, right? There it is, right there. The viewership from this video means people liked watching it. When people like watching this type of stuff, it's entertainment. Like, that's just how it is. But it's crazy to think about it like that. It's weird. It's strange. I don't think we fully have grasped the range that entertainment now has today. Like, it's kind of crazy to think about that. And I don't really have like too many things that entertain me as much as sports, especially football. And with football season, approaching very, very quickly, what I have been watching recently on HBO/Max has been Hard Knocks. Now, if you don't know what Hard Knocks is, it is HBO's, weekly docu-series or weekly reality series of them following a team throughout training camp. This season is the New York Jets. Now, normally, I probably would not have been as interested in the New York Jets if they did not have Aaron Rodgers and also still having Zach Wilson and being on the verge of being a good team because of Aaron Rodgers. And now, with the news that's broken within the past day, the signing of Dalvin Cook to the Jets as their running back, I probably would not have been as interested. Like, I still would have watched because I love football, and just seeing like a team train and practice and have, joint practices, and now the preseason games being played, it's actually really fun. I love Hard Knocks. Sometimes Hard Knocks can be a little bit of a letdown, I'll be honest. But so far, in this season with the New York Jets, only being 2 episodes in, I gotta say it's been pretty good. And you know why? I'll tell you why. First of all, I should also mention this. They did not want to have Hard Knocks there at training camp. I don't know how they actually got them to agree to it, but they did not want Hard Knocks at their training camp, which is kind of bizarre because it's like, how did this even occur? How did this happen? How'd you guys not win that battle? But anyway, they obviously had to accept it, that Hard Knocks was going to be there filming for their season this year. And, I would have been, kind of okay with any team, but at this point, I'm so happy that it's the New York Jets. I am so happy because Aaron Rodgers, as much as I think that he's kind of a dick, kind of a know-it-all, kind of a cocky asshole, he's very entertaining to watch in training camp. He's very entertaining to watch, interact with other players. Because he's so good, and he also seems like such a humble guy, that he's like willing to, make all these friends in the NFL and willing to like buy into what these coaches want to do and how these players play. And we got to be, we can't forget this. This is his first year with a new team since he's been drafted. He has not been on any other team other than the Packers up until this season. So that was another wrinkle as well that I was like, you know what? Let's see how this all shapes up. What a great get. HBO, the New York Jets, hell yes. Perfect. And it's been showing all the wrinkles and then all the little attention to detail that's being, laid out within like the facilities and the teams and the practices, how Aaron Rodgers has been developing relationships with the new players, the centers, the coaches, the receivers. It's been really interesting because he's also been very, very open about how the process is going, how it's a process. It's going to take some time. It's not how it used to be. And then you really get to see the vulnerability and the actual like praise that the coaches are giving Aaron Rodgers. The fact that they have like this sense of relief that we have Aaron Rodgers on our team, that we probably are not going to be, at least for the season, we are probably not going to have the same offensive troubles as we did last year just because simply we have Aaron Rodgers. Like them saying that and them making that a point is crazy. Like there was a quote, like one, I think it was like the defensive coordinator. He was saying, he's ours, guys. Look at these throws. He's ours. Like he was so happy that they actually had a good quarterback for the first time in like years, like so many years, probably since like early days of Mark Sanchez, right? It's been a while. Also, the fact that Zach Wilson is still there, who was the starter for most of last season and the season before that, and was drafted as the number 2 overall pick in the 2020 draft by the Jets. Like that was pretty crazy. I gotta say, like that was interesting to see that, because like he was, for the most part, like their guy. He was marketed as their guy. He was talked up about him being their guy. And now to see like he's like essentially battling for, the backup quarterback, and how he's, been able to handle that, how he's talking with Aaron Rodgers, it's pretty damn good. It's pretty good to see this. It's really cool to see how they're interacting with each other. I have to admit, because, again, if they didn't have Aaron Rodgers, if they weren't going to make some splashes and actually get Aaron Rodgers, it might have been a pretty boring, season of Hard Knocks. And it still has that, that opportunity to be boring. I know we're only 2 episodes in, but I have to say, at this point in the season of Hard Knocks, I am mostly entertained. I'm actually very, very entertained, and the sidecast too is pretty damn awesome. By sidecast, I mean like by players and coaches that they're following. Obviously, you got Aaron Rodgers, you got Zach Wilson, Quinnen Williams, who has been like a pretty much a breakout star, I think you could say, as like a likable personality in the NFL. Like, he just seems like a really fun guy to be around. Like, he seems like one of the most fun guys to chill out, to hang out with, and I was just like, whoa, this guy's cool. Like, he looks like a fun guy. I could root for this guy. Also, Will, what's his name? He's like a rookie wide receiver. I can't remember his name. He's got like a bunch of piercings if you're watching the show. He was cool too. Obviously, Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner are also part of the cast as well. But also, I think that, they're following a lot of guys that are pretty established, like Aaron and Quinnen and Zach and Sauce and Garrett. And Hard Knocks always follows, like, not only the main guys, but also guys that are on the bubble. And at the moment, like, we haven't really followed anybody that the guys that are, on the bubble, because back in the day, Hard Knocks would follow the guys on the bubble, and the whole season would be like a journey to see like if those guys have what it takes to make the starting 53-man roster, or just to make the 53-man roster. And at the moment, that's the only thing that's been a little disappointing, is that we haven't really seen that much of the guys who are quote unquote on the bubble that could not make the team, right? I mean, for God's sake, the show is called Hard Knocks, It's supposed to show you, I mean, at least it did. It showed you like the reality of training camp and how it was hard to make an NFL roster, and that, you would follow the guys, and then you would see throughout the season or throughout the preseason if they had what it takes to make the 53-man roster. And so far, 2 episodes in, I have not seen any of this. I mean, the rookie that they've been following, like I said, his name is Will. I don't remember his last name, but he does not seem like somebody who's going to get cut. He was their number 1 pick, and it seems like he's a lock. So, I mean, there's still time to see if they're going to go within that storyline, if they're going to actually go with that approach to see like who is, who's going to get cut and who's not. Although, I will say, Hard Knocks has been getting a little soft with that in that era, or that area of the show. They haven't really been doing that. They don't really like to, at least in the most recent seasons, they don't really like to show the players getting cut as much as they did maybe about 4 years ago. So it's kind of been getting soft on that aspect. I wonder if they had the conversation to just cut that entire thing out. It kind of seems like they might have decided to cut that out because, it's just not following the same formula as it used to. Even just like last year. Last year we saw that 100%. Like we knew who we were following, these 3 guys, and a couple of them are going to get cut. One of them is going to make it, and it's just like that's how the show went. So it kind of seems like they might be changing the formula a little bit with the show. As long as they can keep up with the good Aaron Rodgers content and keep getting him and seeing how this guy ticks and how these guys on their team click, it'll be okay. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts right now on Hard Knocks. It's very solid, very good. I just kind of think that they might have cut out the hard part of the show, which is the cutting and who does not make the team. Which I honestly, as it's not fun to watch, it's not fun to see as a player, but it does provide a form of entertainment that we as lovers of football don't get to see, and always thought that this was the program where if you're interested, you could see all that shit. And the fact that they might be going away from that kind of stinks, I'll be honest. All right, and that's going to wrap it up for me today, people. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Remember, you can find this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube at Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva. New episodes drop every Thursday morning. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow, review, do all that good stuff in any particular order. And yeah, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next week.